First live. All right. And welcome to another episode of the Nick, Josh, and Aaron Sports Talk Radio Show. I am your host, Aaron Gaberman, alongside Nick Dobies and Josh Dow here at the Marist College radio station in lovely Lowell Thomas Communications Center in our little dome here. So we are here to talk about any sports-related issues regarding our time. Today we'll be talking a lot about the World Series, about how crazy of a Game 7 it was, and and also get into a little NFL talk, also preview a little bit of football. Also, just maybe to wrap it up for the evening, we'll just give you a little insight of what's going on, and I don't know, why not talk a little bit like about what's going to go on down on Tuesday, because I know everybody's excited about what's going to go down on Tuesday. By the way, for all you people, Election Day is Tuesday, just to get it out. It's not November 27th, as people might think, or November 12th, or what. But, we'll start today with the World Series, though, because this is like a huge game. Game 7 was absolutely crazy. The Cubs ousted the Cleveland Indians 8-7 in 10 innings with a rain delay, with everything going down. 108 years of drought. Drought that was finally cleared out. So congratulations to the Chicago Cubs. They are actually having their party on the streets of Chicago, which I think like over 100,000 people are there, which is insane. So they're passing around the trophies. So, what do you guys think of that series? Because that game was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it was a crazy ending to a great series. Won 7 games, like I think all of us expected to go at least 6 or 7. It was really close. Game 7 was totally back and forth. Thought the Cubs had it, and the Indians came back, and the Cubs came back again, and then the Indians almost came back second time. So it was a great game to a really not just a great series, but a great baseball season.
Absolutely. What do you think about that, Nick?
I think it was a perfect way to end the game. I mean, not just because it was a close game, and not that it was only 7 games, but it went into extra innings as well. So, I mean, it can't get much closer than that. And it was a one-run game and extra innings. So I thought that it was a perfect ending to a great season. I thought both teams deserved to be where they were. Definitely a great season. Both teams fought hard. So congratulations to the Cubs for breaking that long drought and making history.
Absolutely. In the beginning of the game, I was getting worried because I know we all saw that Corey Kluber was struggling, and we thought, okay, was this going to be a blowout? The Cubs are going to win the World Series, no problem. But this actually turned out to be, I was actually more impressed to see this go into extra innings with the rain delay and everything. I think it just made baseball what baseball is. It just made baseball amazing, and it made it the spectator sport that everybody wants to watch.
Wasn't it the most watched playoff game in years or something?
Yeah, it was about time it took over. Yeah, about time baseball got its recognition for being a watch sport, because I think it's kind of undervalued, and people need to keep watching it. And finally addressed how with this young Cubs team now, it's gonna attract, I think, more young people to come on to watching the show, watching baseball and watching the games on TV, and just finally learning that. Realizing that baseball is actually a really, really cool sport. And through that, we got to see, it was just an absolutely crazy game. You got to give credit to the Cubs pitching and late offense in the 10th inning. But it was just when I saw Chapman give up the home run to Rajai Davis I think it was in the 8th inning, I was just like, oh boy. So, it was exciting, but you have anything to add? No.
Yeah, you pretty much summed it up about everything that happens. I was surprised to see the bullpens giving up runs and giving up leads, because both bullpens kind of struggled in the end with Chapman giving up, and then Shaw, I think, for the Indians, who gave up the runs. Because usually the bullpens have pretty much been like lights out for the most part. So, I thought it would be like the team to like lead after like the fifth inning or whatever would end up winning the game. And yes, that did end up happening because the Cubs did win, but both bullpens gave up a lot more runs than I thought they would.
Yeah. What do you think to that, Nick, about the bullpens?
I think you guys pretty much summed it up great. I thought there was a lot of great pitching. That was kind of surprising, like you guys said. Especially, I think there was a home run off of Andrew Miller, who's been really good, right? One of the Cubs players. And the first pitch of the Game 7 was a solo shot home run, leadoff home run, which was unprecedented. That's never happened before. So, again, just a great game all around. History was made in more than one way. With the Cubs breaking their drought, with how they even started the game. And I think each player contributed, was a huge factor on each team. Because I think they literally said each team used like pretty much every man on their roster to try to win this game. So, and then David Ross, who's retiring for the Cubs, he hit a home run too, which was great for them. What a way to go out for him. And I heard that the viewership was just unbelievable, which, it's not surprising considering these two teams were playing. One of their droughts was going to end. So I think what a way to go out. And it was just crazy because you thought, the Cubs, when they went up by 2 runs, it was 8-6, right? And then Cleveland came back within a run. You thought, oh, God, here we go again. Cleveland's going to come back. But Chicago was able to hang on. So what an ending to a series and a season.
All 3 catches that the Cubs used in that game got an RBI.
Hey,
that's insane.
That's what was great about the Cubs bench is that they had 3 catchers. It was like you never knew, you never understood why would you need 3 catchers on your playoff roster, but I guess now we found out why.
They all contributed.
Yeah, they all contributed. So that was great. I guess it was just. The game lasted 4 hours, which was absolutely insane. The 4-hour game with
that's because
the 17-minute rain delay.
It was rain delay, yeah.
In extra innings.
Pitching changes, extra innings, and then the fact that it seemed like every single commercial took 8 minutes.
Yeah, that was.
To do extended commercials.
That was crazy too, and it was just crazy. I'll give credit for the Indians for coming back. They definitely battled hard and they didn't give up throughout the game, and it was just a fantastic game. It was one for the memory book, for the history books for sure, and it'll be definitely something that will live down in baseball history as one of the greatest games ever, for sure. It was.
We can all say we saw the Cubs win the World Series.
Yeah, we can all tell our children now that we saw the Cubs win the World Series, which is absolutely is gonna be great. And I think it was in the Back to the Future that would predict this year would be the year that the Cubs won the World Series.
I think it was last year they predicted.
Oh, last year?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll confirm that. We can take a look.
And not only can we say that to our future children that we saw this happen, but they broke this long drought that a lot of generations have not seen. Think about it. This was even before, say, our grandparents were born, 1908. Think about that. That's insane to say that we've been able to see that.
Yeah, it's definitely one to watch, one to remember.
Absolutely, forever.
I'll give credit also to the Cubs ownership and Theo Epstein. It's so hilarious how the entire both rosters were basically former Red Sox. David Ross, Kobe Chris, Theo Epstein, John Lester, John Lackey. It was hilarious. Mike Napoli. Terry Francona.
Mike Napoli. Yep.
It's they're all former Red Sox, which is hilarious. But yeah, I'll give credit to Theo Epstein who built this team, and they did a great job. Great job building the team. They know what they were doing in Chicago, and he knows how to build a team. He knows how to build a playoff team. He knows how to do it. And
if you need a curse broken, just call him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you need a curse broken, do call.
It certainly seems like he'll do the job.
Go, call Theo Epstein, man. He knows what he's doing, and he's one of the he's just so incredibly good at his job, and he's so young too. He's a really young GM. He's getting into the industry, and he really knows what he's doing, and I'm very proud of him and his organization for doing that. And I'm glad that also that Cleveland didn't seem disappointed at the end of their loss, because they really shouldn't. They got this far, and Cleveland baseball has been really underrepresented since especially now that the Cavaliers have won the World Series, the NBA Finals, and the only team that really is bad in Cleveland now is the Cleveland Browns, but that's always gonna be bad. But for now,
maybe the Browns should hire Theo.
yeah, maybe the Browns should hire.
That's what I've been hearing on social media and everything. That's his next assignment.
Hashtag
Get the Browns.
Hire
Yeah.
Theo. Yeah.
But no.
I'd be happy also if Theo Epstein came to the Yankees. Well, I like Brian Cashman though. I respect Brian Cashman, so I'm not gonna go after him for that.
But think about it, like to your point, Cleveland has nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, I think they definitely overachieved this season. Wouldn't you guys say that?
Yeah.
Who saw them in the World Series? Potentially winning it.
I would have never thought they'd get this far, especially with injuries to their pitching and everything like that. And how they just did incredibly good, and you know.
I thought I didn't know they'd make it to the World Series. I thought at the beginning of the year they'd probably make the playoffs just because of how good all 5 of their starters were.
Absolutely.
But then during mid-season in I guess August or whatever, when Carrasco and Salazar both got injured, I thought all right, they're done. They're either not going to make the playoffs or they'll be a first round exit or something. So for Tomlin and Bauer and their offense and everyone to pick up the slack and propel them to a Game 7 of the World Series was really good for them.
Yeah, and I think they just renewed Terry Francona's contract, or they gave him extensions for till 2020 or something like that. So, definitely well deserved, and we hope for the best in the future for both teams. I think definitely. Do you guys see?
Well, I don't want to wish any other AL teams to.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
We love our New York Yankees here, but
Yeah, be careful there.
Yeah, but I also the AL Central is just one of the best divisions in baseball for sure.
Well, look at last year. That's Kansas City Royals.
Yeah,
they won last year from the AL Central.
Teams making back to back from that division.
So I guess watch out for them. Keep an eye out for that division next year.
I don't think we're gonna have to worry about the Twins though anytime.
No, we're not gonna have to worry about the Twins anytime soon. That's for sure. What do you guys think of the Cubs in the future? Do you think they have a chance to repeat next year? I mean, starting early. Do you think this could be a dynasty team that everybody's been talking about, or do you think it'll be another maybe 10 years from now we'll see them back or something? I think a long time.
Well, I mean, it could be. They definitely should be good again next year because most of their players are pretty young. Their core players at least, with Bryant and Rizzo. Lester's there for a long time still. Do you know I know for their free agents, I know Chapman will be, I know Fowler will be. I'm not sure which other players they have that are going to be free agents.
Let's see, the Cub free agent. Yeah, Jason Hamill, Dexter Fowler. Let's see, Dexter Fowler, Travis Wood, Mike Montgomery, Lester, Arrieta, Lackey, and Hendricks are under contract.
Yeah.
So that's good. Hamill. So it's Hamill and Fowler.
And
Chapman. Yeah. And and possibly Rondon too. Other free agents could be Coghlan and Chris Coghlan and Trevor Cahill.
Yeah. So
And David Ross is retiring. So.
Yeah. Other than Chapman and Fowler, none of the other ones are all that important.
Yeah, exactly.
They could be replaced.
Yeah, I mean.
So I think their team is still going to be very strong.
Yeah.
Next year,
especially we thought that the NL Central is definitely a very tough division, and it's with the Pirates and the Cardinals. I mean,
the Cardinals are always good. Yeah.
They're always good. So
the Brewers and the Reds were pretty bad.
Yeah, they've always been bad, but
the Pirates usually are good.
Yeah, they always have high expectations. Then they crash.
Then they started trading people.
Yeah.
At the trade deadline, they traded away Melanson, they traded Liriano. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're gonna trade away McCutchen this offseason or not.
Yeah,
because he didn't have that good of a year.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they would trade away McCutcheon just because he's the face of the franchise kind of for them at this point. I don't know, but maybe we Wait, do you got anything to add about the Cubs free agents and going forward?
Well, I think you guys, summed it up pretty well. I think this team is definitely going to be a threat going forward to the rest of the league. I mean, just you said they're so young. They obviously want to retain everybody, try to keep, the momentum going from breaking this long curse, breaking the 108-year drought. So I think for sure they're definitely going to be a threat, and I think they definitely have the best chances to repeat. I mean, Vegas seems to think so. I mean, right after they won the World Series that same night, Vegas pegged them as, 3-1 odds to win it all next year? So,
oh, really?
Yeah, to repeat. Back to back. So
I mean, I think Vegas odds.
It's a little early.
Well, obviously, yeah, but
of course, Vegas odds. They're always available.
When's the last time you think they picked a team not to repeat? Like if they're
That's
picking,
yeah.
if they're picking
Yeah.
the day after the World Series is over, like they're obviously still like the best team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But I think for sure, to the rest of the NL, Cubs, definitely are a threat, at least,
Oh,
They're not going to win it all. They can compete.
Definitely
for sure.
Could compete for at least another championship.
Absolutely.
National League championship.
Well, I mean, look at last year. They came close, but then they just ran into the Mets, who were on a tear, If they beat the Mets, they would have been in the World Series, right? I mean,
they were in the World Series last year. They just lost.
One of the most interesting parts, though, is, what are the other NL teams going to do to, get better and
that's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
What free agents will the Cardinals sign? What free agents will the Dodgers sign?
Yeah, and what are the Giants gonna do? Could be their year again next year. So, we don't know. And
they've lost in 16, so their even streak ended. So maybe they'll start an odd streak now.
Yeah.
When it's 17, 19.
Yeah, exactly. So they're exactly. So guess just we'll have to find out going forward, and it'll be an absolutely crazy going forward with the Cubs, and congratulations to the Cubs for winning the World Series, and but yeah, we're all now is just all right, when does spring training start? But
we got a couple months of off-season free agent acquisitions, which will be fun.
Got the winter meetings coming up.
You got the draft too, right?
Yep, MLB draft.
MLB draft.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll have to
excited for that first episode of Yankees Hot Stove.
Oh yeah, stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for all your Yankees magazine coming up. Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to find out what's gonna go down with that. I guess. Hey, we'll just all find out about that. But I guess we'll swing into now, just for the heck of it, because we're just gonna roll straight through because we don't do commercial breaks on Facebook Live, so because we can't play music. So we could go into some college football games that are gonna go down this weekend. There's going to be some actually really good games that are going to come down. Alabama, number 1 Alabama plays 15 LSU. Big SEC matchup that's going to be this weekend at 8 p.m. in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So at the home of the Tigers. LSU is doing really well now since they acquired their new coach after they fired Les Miles. They've been doing really, really well. So what do you guys think about what do you think about this game going forward? Because this could be this could be a big game for Alabama too. If they lose this game to LSU, it could kick them out of the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alabama will probably win, but hopefully it will be a close, competitive game. Yeah, the only 2 hard games Alabama has left are LSU and Auburn at the end of the season. So, yeah, it'll be interesting, where if they do lose, how far down they drop in the rankings. I don't think it would by any means knock them out of playoff contention, because a 1-loss SEC team is still pretty good, and then if they were to win the conference championship, I still think they'll be in the playoffs even if they were to lose. But yeah, it would definitely impact their chances. So just to see the best team and the undefeated best team in the nation, if they were to lose, would always be a big story.
Oh yeah, big time. What do you think about that, Nick?
Absolutely, I agree. LSU has been on a tear, since they fired Liz Miles. This could be an interesting game because I think LSU is one of those teams that could, challenge Alabama because a lot of teams haven't really been able to do that. Alabama's just been, rolling through their schedule here. I think if they lose, they're still going to be in the top 4 because who else are you going to replace them with? I mean, obviously teams will move up that are behind them, but outside of that top 4, how would you kick out Alabama and who would you put back in? You put in a one-loss Ohio State? I don't think so. I don't think one-loss Ohio State would trump a one-loss Alabama because of the strength of the conference. The SEC's always been good. So I like Alabama's chances to remain in the top 4, even if they are to lose this game.
Yeah.
And it's a road game too, so I mean you could see that. And LSU's ranked 13, so they're not like a bad opponent, to lose to. Same thing with Auburn. They're not considered a bad, really bad loss, I guess.
Yeah, would you also consider if Alabama did lose, would you consider also moving up if they beat Boston College this week, or would you also consider moving up at number 5 Louisville to that 4 slot? A 1-loss Louisville. I don't know. And honestly, I think that a loss to a 15 seed LSU isn't as big as a loss to, I think the loss that Louisville got. So.
Louisville lost to Clemson.
But
that's also a good team.
We have to consider too. They've struggled with the unranked teams. They struggled beating Duke and recently Virginia. They struggled in those 2 games, so that's something to consider. Because you got to look at other teams they've played against. So
yeah,
I wouldn't put Louisville ahead of one-loss Alabama. No way.
Okay.
No way. I don't know about you guys, but
no, you make a good point. I mean, this is it'd be a huge upset if Alabama does lose this game for sure. And I don't know. I really don't expect Alabama to lose this game, but it could lead to something very 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 crucial and going forward. Could be important. So it could really flip the standings and everything like that, and impact playoff implications. So I'm not really sure yet. So we'll see what happens this weekend with that game. But it could absolutely turn the tide if they do somehow get upset. Another big game that's going to be coming up this weekend in college football is the number 9 Nebraska Cornhuskers versus number 6 Ohio State. It's the two top 10 teams that are playing against each other, and it's going to be 2 big Big 12 conference teams. So, what do you guys think about this game?
Yeah, well, I mean, both of them lost. Nebraska lost to Wisconsin, then Ohio State had lost, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, to Penn State.
Yeah.
So, both of them need to rebound because, yeah, if you get a second loss, you're not going to make it to the playoff. So, this is I think it's the game
It's Ohio.
Ohio, yep, and Columbus, yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Ohio State is a better team, and probably favored to win. But I mean, Nebraska is still a pretty good team. Obviously, being ranked where they are, they can definitely have the capability of winning this one. So yeah, if I don't see, even if Nebraska wins this, I don't see Nebraska probably making it to the Final Four. But if Ohio State loses, they would probably get knocked out of any playoff contention.
No doubt. I think, I agree with that. I don't see.
Their only saving grace would be then if they were to beat Michigan at the end of the season. But
yeah, because Michigan's number 2 in the country right now.
And that's their next quality game.
Yeah,
really.
That's their best chance. I mean, I don't like Ohio State. So I mean, but it's gonna be a good game. I'm not gonna deny it. It's gonna be 2 tough offenses, and defenses too. It's gonna be a very defensive, I think, type game. Because all Big 12 games are usually very, very, very intense like that. So I'll have to see what happens. But and then so that games could impact some of the rankings if depending on who wins that game. Our next game that I care about because I'm a huge Notre Dame fan is the Notre Dame Navy game. It's a classic rivalry that's been dating back for centuries and centuries. The point is
for centuries or for decades.
Well, decades now. Yeah, decades. We're not in centuries yet.
So, yeah, they had that rivalry in the 1532.
Yeah.
You never know. I don't know. But
America wasn't a country and we didn't have a navy yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
Going on for decades. This game.
Going for a while. We'll settle for that, I guess, right?
Notre Dame's been struggling. I'm gonna admit it heartily that Notre Dame's been struggling dramatically, and it's really sad to see them in this situation. You know, if they do lose this game, they're playing actually in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Jaguar Stadium at Everbank Field. So it could be a good game. I mean, Navy's always actually pretty good, being an independent team. They're 5-2 right now, and Notre Dame's 3-5, so they're doing better. But if Notre Dame does lose this game, it could possibly lose to the hot firing of possibly Chip Kelly or Brian Kelly. My bad, not Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's getting
Chip Kelly's not doing too good.
He's not doing
No, yeah. Both Kellys are, I think, kind of on a hot seat, you know.
Not doing too good at all. So we'll have to go into that. But do you guys have any input on this?
I don't really follow Notre Dame. All I know is they're really bad this year.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're not great either, I don't think. So, I don't know, I guess I pick Navy because I think they were ranked.
Yeah, I think they were ranked in the top 25. And
they were like 24 or something, and
yeah.
they lost to someone.
Yeah.
I don't know,
They lost to South Florida. South Florida knocked them out.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so not great.
Yeah,
not a great loss.
No.
Probably not going to be watching that game.
Yeah, it's at 11:30 in the morning. It's an early game. It's a very strange early game, for sure. So I mean, those are the big games that are going to be going on in college football. Other games that are going on as well as number 4 Washington is playing unranked California. Number 2 Michigan plays Maryland, and number 22 Oklahoma State plays Kansas State. Number 8 Wisconsin plays Northwestern. Number 7 Texas A&M plays Mississippi State, etc., etc. And also for your UConn sports fans, UConn plays Temple, which we'll just say wait till basketball.
Yeah, UConn's waiting till basketball.
Yeah,
pretty much.
UConn's waiting till basketball. So, but I guess we'll transition from college football into some NHL because we're doing it really fast today. I don't know. So if we go to the standings for the NHL, it's very early in the season, but the Penguins and Rangers are tied in points this season at 16, while the Washington Capitals are number 3.
With 15 points.
15 points.
Yep.
So it's very early in the season. It's only been, I think, only 9, 10 games, 11 games this season. So it's very early in the season, but it's always looking good to see the top 3 teams in the Eastern Metropolitan Division doing well as always. Are my Penguins and you guys Rangers.
Yep.
Rangers have got off to a really good start. Yeah. Scoring a lot of goals too. Scoring 5 last night, 6 a couple of games ago, I think. So, coming into the season, I wasn't sure how good they'd be, especially after losing to the Penguins last year.
Yeah.
They looked really bad in that series, and I wasn't sure how they respond to that and how the new players would gel together. But they look to be pretty good. Their players, I think, really dedicated themselves this off season and got better. So it's showing. All the work that they've done is showing so far early in the season. They're skating really fast. They're scoring goals. The new lines that they have going with some of their new players are playing pretty well. So So it's a fun and entertaining team to watch. It really is, and hopefully they can keep this momentum up because it's hard to keep this going over the course of a whole season. But hopefully they can keep this going, or at least if they do lose it at some point, find it again come April.
Yeah. What do you
Absolutely.
think, Nick?
I think I'm very impressed with them so far because I would say they're averaging roughly 3-4 goals a game. I mean, I think it's out when they hosted the New York Islanders opening night. They got a 5-3 win over a team that swept them last year. So I think that kind of made a statement too, saying that we're back. We're different, improved from last year. I mean, if you just look at their last two games, the Oilers and Blues, they dropped 5 on the Oilers. The Blues, which was a deep, Western Conference playoff team last year. They just against San Jose back. When they played them, they dropped 7 goals on them. So, I mean, they've been doing really well, and their offense is clicking, and I think it's very hard to win games if your offense doesn't show up. It's tough to rely on your goaltender to get those, 1-0, grinds, because it's just so hard if they face a lot of shots to stop all of them, and it just puts more pressure on the goalie. So, when their offense is showing up, that's doing a good job. That's helping out Lundqvist, helping out the team, for sure by scoring. That way, there's not as much pressure on the goalie to help them win games.
It's a lot of different players too that are scoring.
Yeah.
It's not just like 1 or 2 guys. They're getting contributions from a lot of players, all 4 lines really. Nash is scoring, Zuccarello obviously, Kreider, but then guys like JT Miller and Hayes, who looked not all that great towards the end of last season, have definitely improved. Some of their new guys like Michael Grabner is like 6 goals. Who knew that he could score that many goals?
Yeah.
VC, the new kid, is looking pretty good. So
Yeah.
they look to have a pretty good team.
Yeah, so far I just look at the stats. Goals per game, 4.09.
Wow.
Per game.
That's impressive.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Think about that. And they're only a fraction of the way in. So I mean, if they're doing that, I mean it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's very impressive for them. At least on the Penguins side, we've been I'm proud of them so far. Luckily, you've been avoiding injuries, which is like one of the key things that the Penguins have been usually getting into this early in the season. Is sometimes we see early injuries, but so far they've been keeping pretty healthy, which I'm very happy to see. And they've been producing off of it. Crosby's been performing. I know you guys hate Crosby, but he has been performing well. Everybody else has been keeping up with the pace. Fleury is rebounding from his late season slumbers last season when he struggled in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So when Matt Murray came in and helped replace that front. So I've been impressed with them. They've been scoring goals, and been getting a lot of overtime games, which I'm a little worried about. But we blew out Anaheim. We're beating teams that we're supposed to be beating, which I'm very happy to see. So as long as we're beating the teams we're supposed to beat and getting close games with teams that maybe are tough, more competition early, then I'll be happy to see that. Definitely the next game going forward for both teams, the Rangers play at Boston, so classic Boston-New York rivalry at the Garden. It's always a good game at the Garden. Rangers play.
Well, technically both arenas are gardens.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right. TD Garden, Madison Square Garden. Yep.
TD Bank Garden, just for those listening, trying to get it clear. So they're playing at Boston. The Penguins play in San Jose, a little
rematch.
Stanley Cup final rematch in San Jose, where we clinched the Stanley Cup last season, which was fantastic for us. So, and then if we look around the NHL currently, it's your typical teams are still in the lead early, as like you see Montreal always still in front because they always have a good team and they always make the playoffs. They're just like that good. They're 9-0, which is like insane.
Yeah, they only have 1 overtime loss, and that's it.
19 points.
They have not lost in regulation.
Yeah, and then if we go to the Western Conference, you still see the Chicago Blackhawks always in the top ranks, as always. You see Minnesota Wild right now are second in the Central, and the Blues are third. And then Pacific, you see Edmonton's actually doing pretty well. They're first in the Pacific.
I'm surprised by them. I don't know about you guys. They're kind of a surprise team.
Edmonton's doing pretty well. That's pretty shocking. Behind San Jose, which normal, and then we got the other teams in the West. But definitely, as always, we always know that I think we can all agree that besides Chicago, really, the Eastern Conference is always like a stronger conference in the NFL for sure. They're like the older conferences.
Usually the West is pretty strong too.
Yeah. They can be.
Like
yeah.
The Pacific Division's not that good, but the Central is usually
pretty strong.
St. Louis, Minnesota.
Yeah, Chicago.
Chicago.
Hey, don't count those California teams though.
Dallas,
Colorado,
Nashville. They all usually have pretty good teams.
Yeah, they're just struggling this year right now.
At least early on.
Nashville Predators are struggling 3-5. That's not very good. They lost last night to Arizona Coyotes. So that was kind of a struggle there. Colorado's not doing great either, 4-5. Vancouver's not that great this year, 4-6. Winnipeg's 4-6. Lost it. The Kings are always good though. They should be doing better. They're 5-6 right now, but we could see a little change going forward because I think they're a pretty good team. Los Angeles, former Stanley Cup champions back in a few years ago. So we'll keep
still early.
Still very early.
Time for
teams to
to rebound.
Teams that got out of the gate with a losing record, they can still definitely rebound and improve and make the playoffs. And
Absolutely.
Go deep in the playoffs.
All it takes is 3-4 games.
Yeah.
A couple games here, a couple games there, and
still very early.
Very much.
In the season, and we'll just have to keep our eye on it and just keep going forward with that. In other sport news, I guess we can go into the deal of like what is going on with the New York Knicks. I mean, they are really bad this year. Like so far, like 1-3, they're really underperforming. I mean, if there's any Knicks fans watching on Facebook Live or listening in, I'm sorry. I feel bad for you guys. I mean, like they're booing their players already on the court, like the Houston Rockets. I mean, can you believe that? It's like absolutely insane against the Rockets. That was hilarious. But how are the Nets doing?
I mean, they're trying at least. They're okay.
They're 2-3. Yep.
They're never going to be like good, like in terms of like playoffs or anything. But at least they're trying, which is more than you can say about the Knicks.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because considering the Knicks roster on paper, you would assume they'd be way better, right, than the Nets.
Yeah,
way better. I mean,
would think that, right?
they got some, star quality talent now. With the acquisitions of Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, right? I mean, you would think there's no way this team only won 1 out of 4 games so far.
Yeah. And, of course, we see usually, like, as always, the Cavaliers are doing great at 5-0 this year. Like, as always, like, they're still being the team that they always continue. Chicago's still up there. The Bulls are still 3-1, so they're doing good. My Miami Heat are not doing that well, 2-2, which is not good. But you see the typical in the West is also doing well. Like Thunder and the Warriors are top.
They just played each other.
Yeah, they just played.
Yeah, last night.
That was a blowout by the Warriors.
KD just destroying his whole team.
Yeah, KD, man, he's on fire. Like I don't know how. He just dominated Westbrook and his entire team. And I guess it just proves how dominant the Warriors could be going forward, for sure. Because like now that we're seeing them beat their own competition at home, and in against like teams like the Thunder and the. Well, let's see how they do better against the Spurs. I think the Spurs are going to be another tough competition to deal with.
Absolutely.
Going forward, but absolutely, it's a team to keep monitoring throughout the season. How well is KD going to work with his new teammates, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson? How are they going to mingle together? And let's see how that goes. But
part of me though just wants to fast forward to June and just watch the Warriors play the Cavs again.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hey, I mean,
probably what's going to happen.
But it might not be. You never know. I mean, look at what happened. The Spurs, they came into Golden State, and they made a statement. I mean, big time. I mean, did you guys see any of that coming? I mean,
no, I didn't
think about that.
I didn't expect that the first time.
I mean, that was a huge rout. I mean, it wasn't close.
After thinking about it, though, you kind of realize, okay, well,
the Warriors need more time to get better.
Yeah,
and play
exactly.
together.
They need to KD needs to learn to play with his new team, and learn the plays, get used to because the problem is when you have three guys that really like to hog the ball. That's the problem.
And just shoot 3-pointers as well.
And only shoot threes. And KD's the one guy that could probably get into paint a lot more because he's a taller guy. He can get into the paint more. But besides him, it's really tough to see other guys to see the other guys go into the paint more, especially when you're defending going against a 7-footer. So it's tough. So
that's the one. The bad thing about the Warriors
is the size.
They're kind of one-dimensional.
Yeah, very.
Now that one dimension is by far the best at what they do in the league, but if all those guys have an off shooting night, then they're not going to win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you got anything to add about that, Nick?
Well, I would say, everyone wants to fast forward to this, Golden State Warriors Cleveland, rematch. But I say not so fast. I mean, I'm going to keep going back to this, but look at what San Antonio did to them. Came in and absolutely made a statement. I mean, that wasn't even close throughout, They just totally destroyed Golden State. And I think that was making a statement saying, hey, come June, don't count us out. Don't think, if you get matched up against us, that you're just going to, roll through us. I mean, look at Oklahoma. With that super team they had last year, Oklahoma City was this close to knocking them out. I mean, yes, they didn't, and they blew their lead in that series. But, I mean, I think, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, those types of teams can compete with Golden State. And I think if they're not careful, they could get bounced. Yeah. I don't think anything is decided by any means.
They were lucky that they were able to, since they lost Tim Duncan last year to retirement. Now that they got Pau Gasol, so
yeah.
he knows what he's doing over there. I guess he's helping. He's trying to be the replacement for Tim Duncan in that sense.
But the Spurs still have great teamwork. They're still rolling.
The best run organizations in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm not saying the Spurs are bad. Spurs versus the Warriors would still be a great playoff series.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, the Warriors would still be favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's
one game at the beginning of the season is not
yeah.
The Warriors need time to gel together, and the playoffs are going to be best of 7, not best of 1.
No, absolutely, absolutely. It could go either way, but I'm just saying, don't count out the Spurs from pulling off an upset like that, because we've seen them play really, really well in the past. Where they've been matched up against LeBron teams. The Heat, they came back. They lost the first series against them. They came back and beat them, knocked them out in a blowout fashion.
And
so
and you know that a loss to the Spurs is not really an upset. It's not really an upset. The Spurs are very, very good.
No, absolutely.
And they are, like I said before, they are one of the best run organizations in the NBA. They know what they're doing over there. They still kept a lot of guys from last year. So they really haven't changed much since last year, besides the loss of Tim Duncan. Which is good for them, I think, going forward, absolutely for sure. But do we see any teams maybe besides the Spurs and the Warriors in Cleveland that might be a team to worry about going forward? Do you think? Do you see any teams possibly this year?
Well, I mean, I guess the Clippers maybe, or the Raptors. Well, I mean, there'll be teams that are going to be able to compete, but I don't think I would say any other teams other than those ones you mentioned have a chance of winning the finals.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Nick?
No, I agree. I think the Clippers are always a threat. They got Chris Paul. They got DeAndre Jordan. Blake Griffin. So they've got a pretty solid team. I think they can always be a threat. I don't know, like Josh just said, if they could win it all, but I still think that they could be, a threat to teams. I think in the East, you got Boston, who's up and coming. They got Al Horford. They made some additions. I think they get better each year. So I think they could, compete as well. I think Chicago could too, because they have D Wade now. Even though they did give away, Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, they did get, Dwayne Wade. He's playing for his hometown team, so he really wants to, do well for them, especially his hometown city. So I think they could be a threat in the East. Atlanta Hawks, I think they're going to come back, and be a good team this year. So yeah, I think even potentially, Miami could, be decent. They're at 500 right now, or even Charlotte too, because those teams are constantly improving as well. So it'll be interesting.
I agree. I definitely see the Cleveland. I definitely see Chicago doing really. I think Chicago could be like a contender if they continue to play well. Especially with the acquisition with Jimmy Butler now leading the team and with having Rajon Rondo and Dwayne Wade. They got some good guys over there. So definitely they could be a team that could pose some competition against Cleveland going forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like good teams, but there's only like 3 or 4 great teams.
Yeah, and the 3 or 4 great teams are very, very.
Like, that's the one thing I don't like about the NBA compared to the other sports.
Yeah.
Is like there's only like 3 or 4 like handful of teams that have a legit shot at winning the championship.
Yeah.
Like NFL right now, like the Patriots are definitely the best team, but like other teams could win.
Oh, no doubt.
Baseball, the Cubs had been the best team, but there were still a lot of other teams that competed with them. Hockey is like wide open.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely, and going forward, we'll have to find out how that's gonna all be. But I guess we've been really flying by these sports. Wow.
Yeah, no,
incredible.
We've been on a tear.
Guess we could just start going on to picks, I guess.
Sure.
You guys ready for picks?
I mean, it's only quarter after, so we got some time. It only takes us.
We can start.
Okay.
It'll take us some time. We'll probably get.
Last couple of times we were like rushing to finish them.
Yeah,
okay. So whatever you guys want to do.
All right, so we can take a throwdown on the picks. So we can do a little slow on this thing. All right, so going into the NFL, this is the week 9. We're already week 9 in the NFL.
That's crazy.
Incredible.
That is, yeah.
We're more than almost halfway through the season.
Wow. That's insane.
This is crazy, people.
Yeah.
It's already flying by. It's already incredible. First of all, how we're in November of all things. Like, I don't know.
Thanksgiving is what, like
a couple weeks away, right? Literally.
2.5.
Yeah.
Or 3 weeks.
3 weeks away. Yeah.
It's insane.
Thanksgiving break is 2.5.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving itself is like 3
weeks.
Yeah.
So, first of all, let's get an update on how we're doing right now. Like, I was
pick-wise,
last week, but I heard of some things that went down last week's games that Josh did pretty well last week. So,
well, last week when it was just Nick and I beat Nick by 2, 8-6. And then
came down to the wire though.
I think you've only given him 1 week, Aaron.
Oh, okay.
And that week you won 9 or 8, I think.
Oh yeah.
You beat both of us by 1. It was either 9-8 or 8-7.
Okay.
But
sweet.
So yeah, it's pretty close still.
All right.
I don't know how we're gonna make up for
2 weeks of football.
Your last week, like how many picks, like points we should give to you. Because you missing a week puts you like well behind.
Well behind,
yeah.
We'll figure that out going later on. We may average out something next week or something. For this week though, the first game that will be taking place that we'll go after is at 1 o'clock between the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. The Detroit Lions are 4-4, and the Minnesota Vikings are 5-2. Previous matchups have gone down. Like, it's been leaning mostly for Minnesota in the past. Last matchup was October 5th, 2015. So, who do we like in this game? We can start with Josh.
Well, I mean, Minnesota had gotten off to a great start, and then they've just like played really badly these last 2 weeks, losing to Philly 2 weeks ago, and then losing to the Bears last week, which is a really bad loss because Chicago is awful. But I mean, the Vikings had I don't know if this is the week that they start to get things back together again. Because I mean, Sam Bradford, yes, he had been playing well, but he's like not an elite quarterback. It's their defense that really keeps that team going. And Detroit is actually not a bad team. They're around like 500, I think.
Yeah, they are at 500, 4-4.
Yep.
So yeah, Detroit can keep this game close. It's it's hard to predict now because I don't know which version of the Vikings is the real Vikings team.
Yeah.
So if this were in Detroit, I'd probably pick the Lions actually, but since it's in Minnesota, I guess I'll pick Minnesota, but I'm not that confident about that one.
Okay, Nick, who do you have in this?
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of those points were well made about the Vikings not showing up the past couple weeks. I mean, to the Bears. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, that team is just god awful. There's so many problems with that organization. I've heard there's tension between their head coach John Fox and Jay Cutler. It's just a mess. And for them,
it seems like Jay Cutler gets along with anyone really.
Yeah, but just the whole franchise. That whole franchise is just a mess. Totally. Yeah. I mean, and to lose to that team is an embarrassment, especially since you were one of the last remaining undefeated teams and had high expectations, high hopes. But to lose that game, that's just that's deflating, really. But I'm going to go with the Vikings here, and I'll explain why. Because I don't think they've lost a game at home yet, and I think they're just a better team than Detroit. And I think their coach Mike Zimmer, he's not happy about that loss for sure, and then about the Eagles' loss. So I think the team's going to come together. They're going to figure things out, figure out how to play better, and especially at home, I like the Vikings' chances.
Yeah, I like the Vikings as well, and I'll go into reasons why. First of all, they're playing at home, and of course, as we've been saying, they are undefeated at home. Also, they just fired their offensive coordinator. North Turner, so they might be changing things around with this new offensive coordinator. So I think things will work out for them generally well. And also, they're not playing a great Lions team, and they're doing okay, but they're not great. So I think if they're gonna get one win back, I definitely think it could be against the Vikings. And Sam Bradford can rebound, and as long as the offensive line holds up and the team holds up well, I think they'll make it through. So I'll go with the Vikings in that game, under caution, we'll say. The next game is a big game, definitely for you guys. It's the 4-3 Eagles at the 4-3 Giants at MetLife. So last matchups have not been great for the Giants against the Eagles. The last game, the Giants got beat 35-30 in kind of an upset because the Eagles were really, I think, bad last year.
Yeah, I'd rather not talk about the Giants' recent history with Philly.
Yeah, agreed. Just
a good thing.
But going forward, though, this could be a very important game for the NFC East for this year. Going forward. So, who do you guys got in this game?
Yeah, I actually think the NFC East, I would say, is actually top to bottom the best division in football right now. Because I'm pretty sure all four teams have a winning record, or at least 500.
Yep.
And that's the only division that can make that claim. I know the AFC West is pretty good too. I think San Diego has a losing record, I think.
Yeah, San Diego does have a losing record.
They're still a pretty good team. So.
Yep. But you're right about.
You can make the argument that might be the best division, but.
No, but you're absolutely right about the NFC East being the only conference, the only division with winning records on every team.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. 6-1 Dallas, 4-3 Giants, 4-3 Eagles, and 4-3 Redskins. So yep, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. So I mean when you get a division game now in the NFC East, they're going to be that much more important because all four teams are good, and if you one loss will probably be the difference between in the final standings at the end of the year. So hopefully the Giants can win this game. I'm not sure if they can or not. The Eagles have they played Dallas pretty tightly on Sunday. Yeah, last Sunday. The Giants kind of won an ugly game against the Rams, but a win's a win, I guess, at the end of the day. So I'm picking the Giants just because I hope they win and I want them to win. But yeah, this one's kind of like the last game. I think this one's kind of a coin flip too.
Who do you got in this game, Nick?
I agree. This is going to be tough to call because, Philly, I don't really know how to evaluate them, to be honest with you, because they're the first team to beat the Vikings, but that was when the Vikings, started to go downhill. They had their struggles, and the Eagles have lost some games I feel like they should have won too. They did play Dallas very tightly last week, but I think the Giants, they really want to come out and prove to people that they're a much improved team from the last couple of years when they, greatly underachieved. So I think the Giants are going to win. They're at home, so I would give them the edge, and I think they really, want to show people that they're for real. This is not just, they're not just 4-3, for no reason, So I'm going to take the Giants.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's like, I'll just go with the Giants just because they're playing at home. And I think if the Giants can win at home, they'll be good. I think since they are in MetLife, they will. I think the Giants will just oust them by a hair. If anything, though, I would not be surprised, though, if they do tie. If there is a tie.
Well, there's a tie every week now. They're going back to the Seattle game.
Exactly.
Third straight week with a tie. That could be the first time in NFL history.
I know, that'd be insane.
We could see the third straight week with a tie, and I would not be surprised by that, to be honest. I hope it doesn't, because I really don't like ties in the NFL. I think it's garbage. But, yeah. So I'll go with the Giants, but that's close.
When Eagles and ties, I still remember when they tied when McNabb was their quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And, he didn't know the game could end in a tie.
Oh, yeah, that was
Well, I think Gruden, the Redskins coach, he stated that he didn't know that it could end in a tie because the Redskins tied last week with the Bengals.
Oh,
so I think he was surprised by that, too. So still some people don't know that.
Wow.
It's possible.
All right. So we'll go on to the next game, which is my game of the weekend. The New York Jets at the 3-5 Jets at the 3-4 Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are coming off a bye week. That was why there's no tie that has been participated in yet.
This game could tie 0-0.
This game could tie 0-0. They are playing in Miami, which is always good for the Dolphins because I think they're undefeated at home.
No.
I know that they have one win at home and then 3 on.
Didn't they lose to Tennessee or something?
Yeah, they lost to Tennessee. Yeah, I don't know.
Yep, they did. Yep, they lost to Tennessee.
Let's see.
But they had a good home record. I think that was their only home loss.
Yeah. So who do we got in this game?
Well, I mean, again, I think this will be a close game, but because not for the same reasons, because both teams are bad rather than both teams are good. But I mean, the Jets just narrowly squeaking out a win against the Browns last week was really bad for them. The Dolphins, I know, have not got off to the start that you would have wanted.
Yeah, I'm not happy about the start, but yeah.
I think though the Dolphins might start to be figuring some things out at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm not quite sure how good the Dolphins can get, but I think they're at least better than the Jets right now. So being at home as well, I'll pick the Dolphins.
Yeah, who do you got next?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a battle between bad teams, essentially, because both teams have been struggling. They have definitely not got off to the starts that they wanted, both organizations. I'm going to lean Dolphins just because of the same reason, because they're at home. They have a good home record. They only have one loss at home. And the Jets, I still feel like they're just a total disarray right now with their team, their franchise, their organization. So I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins, not just because of my...
Yeah, wow, that's surprising. Didn't see that coming.
Not just because... Watch yourself. But
you could have said the same thing when I picked the Giants 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, same here, yeah, exactly, yeah.
But, just because the Dolphins, first of all, the Dolphins are at home. I agree with that. They play well in the Miami Heat, so I'm very happy with that. But also, the Jets are really, really bad this year, as always. And, they've been having a lot of troubles with that. So I'm happy that the Dolphins are doing well. And also, we got our running game back, which I'm very happy. Our offensive line was what they're doing.
Yeah, that running back?
Ajayi, he's been on fire.
Yeah, J.E. Ajayi, yeah.
For 100 yards?
Yeah, he got
back to back.
He broke some Hall of Fame. He
200-yard games.
He broke a record though, apparently, because now his jersey's in the Hall of Fame in Camden. So
that's insane, right? I mean,
yeah.
Who saw this coming at the start of the season, right?
I know. I anybody that their running game's just been, which actually is good because I'm glad that like now Tannehill doesn't have to throw as much because before in the past our running game was just so terrible that even really when we had like Reggie Bush we were terrible, and at least now that we're like we have a running game so we can mix plays up here and there. So I'm very happy that Dolphins have like a running back now that they can trust and continue going forward. Especially that really helped in their winning against the Steelers 2 weeks ago. But so yeah, Dolphins by hopefully a lot. I'd love to see them crush the Jets. So our next game is the 2-5 Jaguars at the 5-2 Chiefs. Yeah. So Chiefs are always good. The game is at Arrowhead at 1 p.m. So who do we like in this game?
Chiefs, and then the Chiefs again. Because Jacksonville's horrible.
Shocker.
Yeah,
Shocker.
I don't think this will be that close. Especially Kansas City's always a tough place to play. The Chiefs have a pretty good team, and the Jaguars don't.
Yep.
So that's never a good sign for them. But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I think the Chiefs probably by, I don't know, like 20 points or something.
Yeah. Who do you got, Nick?
I agree. Chiefs all the way, just because they're the better team. It says here that they're going to start with backup quarterback Nick Foles because something happened to Alex Smith. But even with their backup, yeah, I don't think it's going to be even that close. They're at home, and just Jacksonville is just really bad. So
yeah. Now that I know they're playing backup quarterback, Chiefs by like 14 instead of 20.
Okay, yeah, but still, it's still going to be not by much more, right? So
the experts think, according to Lee Corso, but
yeah, no, I think the Chiefs are going to run all over them. So Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City in a blowout. I'm looking at the 2013 matchup that they played. They beat the Jaguars 28-2.
Oh,
so that one safety had
That's,
to
they couldn't even put up a
really
field goal on him.
That day. But yeah. Besides that though, it's been Chiefs. So the Chiefs by a lot. Alex Smith is doing well. They're playing at home, and now that Nick Foles is playing, it's gonna be a little closer, but not that much closer. But it's still gonna be a blow. The Jaguars have a lot of work on, so a lot of things to work on. So we'll have to go for that. But we'll move on. And the next game is the 6-1 Dallas Cowboys at the 0-8 Cleveland Browns. Could this be the first win for the Cleveland Browns for the season, or will they have no wins?
I'm gonna answer that in one word. No. I mean, if you thought the last game was a blowout, which is this one, wow. I mean, it'd be great if Dallas lost. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless the Browns, somehow get LeBron to play.
They get Theo Epstein to borrow him real quick,
Theo Epstein to get some, crazy quarterback fast.
Yeah.
Indians players that now have nothing to do.
Mike Napoli, get him as a fullback. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, the Cowboys. Unfortunately.
Who do you got? Nick?
Yeah. I mean, I really do. I wish I get to Cleveland so bad because we really need Dallas to start losing games if we have any hope of winning the division. Because the Cowboys only have one loss. I mean, we're the only team that beat them, the Giants. But we really need them to start losing games if we have any hopes. So it's not happening. Cleveland's 0-8. They're 0-8 for a reason because they're very, very bad. So I'm taking Dallas.
The one Indians player though that could probably play for the Browns is Tyler Naquin because he can't catch a ball.
No.
Oh, that's a good one. There you go. Dallas Cowboys blowout. This might not be the win that definitely not going to be the win that the Cleveland Browns are going to get. I think they will get one win later on in the future, but just not today. Not this weekend. It's gonna be so ugly that it's gonna be one that Browns fans probably don't even want to show up for that day. They actually, I would be, unless they're having Cleveland was the first team to have dollar beer night, and it'd be a time to have that dollar beer night for sure. They had that dollar beer night thing back in the 70s or whatever when they were really low in attendance and everything. But yeah, it's gonna be so ugly going forward. But the next game is gonna be very interesting. Here we go. It's gonna be the 4-3 Steelers at the 3-4 Baltimore Ravens. This used to be a really, really good series, but just both teams have been really struggling, especially now with the Steelers without Ben Roethlisberger. It's gonna be tough. Ravens have really been struggling. So, who do you guys got in this game?
Yeah, back a couple of years ago, this used to always be the rivalry game in the league when they were both really good. But
I think it still is.
well, I mean, the Steelers playing without Roethlisberger right now.
Well, no, they're saying he's going to come back. Roethlisberger, yeah, this is going to be his return, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, still, the Steelers are kind of really inconsistent. They'll look really good one week and then just get blown out the next week. And the Ravens are just awful too. I mean, they couldn't even beat the Jets 2 weeks ago. So I mean, I'll pick Pittsburgh. I guess the Ravens. I don't know. Joe Flacco. I don't know. He, I guess, could have one good game again. I don't know, because I mean, the Ravens weren't all that terrible when they played against the Giants. Although that was probably more of the Giants playing bad than Baltimore playing well. But usually these games are pretty close because both teams hate each other, and they're kind of defensive struggles. But I'll pick the Steelers even though they're away.
Yeah, Nick, who do you have?
Ooh, I think this is the first game we're going to disagree on, right? Because we all agreed, right, on pretty much every game?
Yep.
All of them?
I think, yep.
I'm going to take Baltimore. I mean, ever since they started 3-0, they've lost 4 straight. They have a lot of things to figure out. They're a little bit of a mess right now. But I think this is going to be the game where they want to bounce back because of the reasons you mentioned. It's a rivalry game. These two teams, regardless of where they are, standing-wise, the hate will never end between these two franchises, just like Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. It doesn't matter what their records are. Those teams are just going to hate each other. They're division rivals. And they're rivals for a reason. So I think Baltimore's going to snap out of their funk. They're going to get a win, end their 4-game losing streak. Plus, they're playing at home, so they definitely don't want to, lose this game at home and then risk losing twice to Pittsburgh on the road when they go to play them. So I'm going to take the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Nick, on that one. I'm going to go with the Ravens, just because they're playing at home, and I think it's time that Joe Flacco woke up, and I think he's going to perform pretty well. So I'll just go with the Ravens, and also I think it's because then you'll see both teams get to 4-4, and I think it might be cause for later on to be a really good series in the future.
Oh yeah, Pittsburgh, yeah. When they go to Pittsburgh for sure.
So absolutely. So the next game, this is the ugly game of the season of the week, is the 3-4 Saints at the 1-6 49ers. Game is in San Francisco, but it could be very ugly. So who do you guys like in this game?
Well, I mean, overall, neither team is that good, but only one of those teams has Drew Brees, so I would go with the Saints. They are the away team, but there's no way I'm picking San Francisco because they're just horrible right now. So, yeah, I think the Saints, Drew Brees will just have a pretty nice field day, rack up a ton of yards. So I'll go with the Saints.
Who do you got, Nick?
I got to take Saints all the way. San Francisco's a total disaster, total train wreck. And they're right there with Cleveland as being one of the worst teams in the league, and with Jacksonville. So they've sunk to a new low, and I don't think they're going to snap out of it. So I'm going to take New Orleans all the way.
Yeah, I'm going to go with New Orleans, too. I'm continuing my hatred towards Colin Kaepernick, and I will continue my hatred towards Colin Kaepernick because I just can't stand the 49ers. So I will go with the New Orleans Saints as well. How dare you disgrace our flag? No. But yeah, I just don't like him. It's wrong way to do it. Address the issue, but that's fine. So we'll move on to our next game because and also like what you said as well. It's Drew Brees. It's like quarterback, so that's why it's Saints too. So our next game is the 2-5 Panthers at the 3-4 Rams, Los Angeles Rams. Who do you guys like in this game?
Well, the Panthers had started off horribly, but they finally got a rebound win, beating Arizona at home last week. They looked really good, scored, like 40 points or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
So it was kind of finally what we expected. Cam Newton would finally have like a breakout game, which is what happens. And I think they can keep the momentum up. The Rams playing their last game, obviously being against the Giants, didn't look that great against the Giants. So I know they're at home. I guess they could keep it close maybe, but I think the Panthers will pull away at the end, and I think Carolina will definitely win this one.
Yeah, who do you got? Who do you got, Nick?
I agree. The Panthers, they looked really good last week. Both their wins came against NFC West teams in the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. I think they're going to snap out of the funk that they're in, that they started. I think they're going to play better as a unit. I don't think the Rams are that good at all. A very inconsistent team. They've lost a couple games in a row. So I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers because they definitely want to get the chance to make the playoffs, defend their runner-up status, being in the Super Bowl. So they really have to win a lot of games from here on out to even make the playoffs. So I'm going to like the Panthers' chances.
I'm going to go against you guys on this one. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams. I think they have something going. I don't know. I think just because the Carolina Panthers are so bad this year that this could be a game that they could win, that the Rams could win. So I'll go with the Rams to get to 500, and I think they'll stay. Because I really think the Rams are like a 500 team this year, and they're playing at home. So I think the Rams could win at home. So I'll go with the Rams. I like Todd Gurley too. So let's see. Our next game is the 3-5 Colts at the 4-3 Green Bay Packers. They're playing at Lambeau. Game's at 4:25. It's gonna be cool. Well, it's always cool in Lambeau. So it could be actually pretty nice, 64. But who do you guys like in this game?
Over or under 3.5 touchdown passes for Aaron Rodgers? Because the Colts don't really have a defense, which is a problem for them. It's an amazing thing in the NFL. You need to play defense to win. What a revelation that is. But yeah, the Packers at home. The Packers aren't as dominant as they probably want to be right now. But I still think this will be a pretty easy win, comfortable win for Green Bay at home.
Yep. All right, who do you got, Nick?
I agree with that completely. I think Green Bay is actually not playing up to its expectations. Granted, they do have some injuries they're dealing with. But I think, any Aaron Rodgers team is expected to be 4-3 at this point, just barely above 500. So I think they're really going to come out. They're going to play well. They have a great game against a really bad Indianapolis team who has no defense, who's just a total disarray. So I'm going to take the Packers all the way, especially at Lambeau.
Yeah.
Tough place to play and win.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Packers, too. The Colts are just awful. They're just bad, on defense as well, like what Josh was talking about. I'll go with the Packers. I like Aaron Rodgers. I think their team is underrated. Not underrated. I think they're just not performing as well as they should be. So I definitely think they can, if they could bounce back. Definitely against the Colts this week. They'll definitely get your margin of error on there. At least 3 touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers tomorrow on Sunday. So our next game is the 4-4 Titans at the 3-5 Chargers. It's not gonna be a great game. They're playing against San Diego. It's gonna be hot. 74. Nice. So who do you guys like in this game?
This one could actually be a kind of a close game. I think both teams they're not bad, but they're not good either. They're pretty average, like probably end up around 500, maybe like 7-9 records at the end of the season. So I think either team could probably win this game because the Titans have been starting to get a little better from last year. Mariota's playing pretty well. And then obviously the Chargers have Rivers as their quarterback. They went into Atlanta and beat the Falcons 2 weeks ago, but then lost, I think it was to Denver last week. So if this game was in Nashville, I'd probably pick Tennessee, but since it's in San Diego, I'll pick the Chargers in a close game.
Yeah. Who do you got, Nick?
I would take the Chargers. I think they're the better team. They've shown that they can hang with teams that we would consider to be elite, like the defending Super Bowl champions, Denver Broncos. They beat them at home, 21-13. They almost pulled off a victory against them again on the road at Denver, which was pretty impressive. They were still able to hang around. They went to Atlanta and beat them. Atlanta's looking like a good team. So I think San Diego is definitely going to win this game at home against a Tennessee team.
Yeah, I'll go with the Chargers too. I just think they have a better quarterback. I think Philip Rivers is a better quarterback than Marcus Mariota at this point, and they're playing at home too in San Diego. So I'll go with that for sure, with the Chargers on that one. Oh, feel free to ask us any questions on Facebook Live too. We're here to answer your questions about sports or any knowledge about that.
Any comments, concerns, anything, just let us know. Write us.
Ask us anything about the sports, maybe even the election. Ask us any election questions too. We'll be here. But we'll move on to the next game while we're waiting for people to ask questions. This is the 8:30 matchup, a Sunday night football game between the Denver Broncos and the Oakland Raiders. The Broncos are 6-2, while the Raiders are also 6-2. Playing in Oakland, could be a really good game. So who do you guys got in this game?
This could actually be a good game. Like the Raiders, as we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, the Raiders are a pretty good team for the first time in a while. And then Denver is, always a pretty good team. This rivalry used to be pretty big like decades ago, but now this could be like the first time in a while that both teams are actually pretty good. So I think this could be a really good game. Excited to watch this one in a prime time game. Like, when's the last time the Raiders were on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's been a very long time. But we have a look.
I think this game really could go either way. Like a lot of the other games we've been talking about. But I've been debating this game back and forth, but I'm actually going to go with Oakland. I think Oakland can win. They're at home. They want to make a statement. Denver isn't as good as they were last year. Obviously, their quarterback situation is still kind of up in the air. I think you could probably make the argument that Carr is a better quarterback than Simeon.
Oh yeah.
So I think advantage Oakland in that department. So I'll even though the Broncos defense is probably better than the Raiders defense.
Yep.
I'll pick Oakland by like a field goal or something.
If you're wondering about the last time Oakland was on Sunday Night Football, it was 2006.
Wow. Oh, that's 10 years ago.
It's been a very.
Am I reading that right? That's the longest active drought for any team.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
10 years.
10 years. That's insane. So who do you got, Nick, in the game?
I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to have to pick the Oakland Raiders in this game because I feel like if Denver can lose to the Chargers, who are, I don't think, as strong of a team as Oakland, Oakland can definitely beat them. Denver has shown some inconsistencies here, losing to teams that they should have beaten. They definitely should have beaten the Chargers in both games, not just in one of them, even though it was on the road. And they definitely should have beaten the Falcons, I feel like, but they didn't. So I think Oakland, they're really going to take advantage of this opportunity to get that primetime slot. Like you said, 10 years. I'm sure the franchise is aware of that. And they really want to show people they're for real. And this is a great game to show that. They're not just, fluke at 6-2. They want to show people that they're a real threat in this AFC West and that they could legitimately dethrone Denver in terms of their, reign as ruling the AFC West. So I'm going to take Oakland's chances.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oakland as well. I think they have the better quarterback in David Carr. And I think just going forward, I they're going to perform really well, and I think, and also since they have the home field advantage, I think that they're playing in Denver. I think Denver would win hands down because of just how crazy it is up there at Mile High. But since they're playing at the Coliseum, I think Oakland has a good shot to win, and I'll go with Oakland. And they're looking really good this year, being like a really surprising team. And playing on Sunday Night Football for the first time in 10 years, which is absolutely incredible. So that's going to be interesting. And then we'll go to our last game of the week, which is the Monday Night Football game between the 4-4 Buffalo Bills and the 4-2 and 1 tie Seattle Seahawks at CenturyLink Field in Seattle. So who do we got?
Well, the Bills there for a couple weeks were playing pretty well, but then they lost to the Dolphins. They got crushed by the Patriots. And the Seahawks have obviously tying to Arizona, and the Seahawks, I think they lost to New Orleans last week. So they're not playing all that great either. But I think the Seahawks need a rebound game, and I think this will probably serve that purpose for them. Their offense needs to kind of wake up. Russell Wilson needs to start playing better, and I think that can happen at home against the Bills. So I'll pick Seattle.
Yeah, who you got, Nick?
Yeah, unfortunately, Seattle's not been playing great recently. Their offense has been struggling. They actually ranked 29th in points per game, 23rd in total offense after the consecutive, subpar.
Yeah, when you score 6 points in one game, that's gonna kill your average points per game stat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've just scored just one offensive touchdown in the last 9 quarters, and lost to New Orleans last week. Definitely Pete Carroll's not happy with this at all, so I think this is a bounce-back game for them. Not saying that Buffalo's bad because I think they're a decent opponent, but this is a great opportunity for them to snap out of whatever funk they're in. They're at home, they're at CenturyLink, so they're comfortable there, and I don't see there should be any reason why they should lose at home. But I think some of this can be pinpointed to the health of Russell Wilson, their quarterback. He hasn't accounted for a single touchdown over the past 3 games because he's been dealing with some issues, with his leg, his knee, ankle, that whole thing, which could take a toll on you, for sure. So I think Seattle's going to really bounce back. I think their offense is going to get better and improve because they want to, obviously take a stranglehold of this NFC West, take advantage of, teams behind them losing. So I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks as well. I think the Seahawks at home is always a good scenario for them. And I think they can maybe start slowly making a rebound back to winning games again. And improving maybe getting some more points against the Bills, who aren't that great this year. I mean, they're on and off the Bills, so they've been really good and then been really bad. So I will go with the Seahawks just because they're playing at home, and they're not playing a great Bills team at this point. And, the Bills still have a lot of people to improve on. So those are our picks for the week.
Yeah, so there's only 2 games where we have disagreements, actually.
Oh, so that could be a big important game.
Unlike last week when Nick and I disagreed 5 times.
Yep.
There's only 2 games. Aaron, you got the lone wolf on the Rams.
Yeah.
And I am alone on the Steelers.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that goes.
See how that shakes out, yeah.
But
interesting.
Since we have a little bit of time left in our show, we're going to make a quick public service announcement for you listeners listening on the radio or listening on Facebook Live. Get out to vote on Tuesday. Regardless of who you support, it's really important that your vote is heard. And regardless of who you vote for, third party, it doesn't matter. It's like, I think honestly, I know while it's an ugly election this year, either way it's the worst. It's the ugly of the 2 uglies. Fighting against each other with everything that's going on in the political spectrum. But it's really important to show that, you're expressing your democratic right to vote, and, it's just like, I think it's important to me, I don't know if it's important to you guys that you express your vote, that you go out and vote this Tuesday. And, also it's important to vote for your down ballot candidates, too. Your local elections do matter, and, they mean more to you than they do for federal elections too sometimes. So, go out and vote. Go out and vote on Tuesday. Take some time out of your day. If you haven't voted in college, and if you are in college, vote absentee ballot. And hope for the best. We don't know. It's gonna be a one for the history books for sure. No doubt. We're not expressing any political support on this show. We don't do that on this show. But we're just saying get out and vote on Tuesday. That's all we're recommending. And that's pretty much it. Do you guys have anything to add? Or?
Yep, I have a shout out to. I'm going to localize it. Have some Marist support here to both our soccer teams as they're playing in the MAC playoffs coming up this weekend. So hopefully both those teams will do well. We'll play for a MAC championship. I know the women's soccer team, they've already advanced a round, so they're going to be playing Monmouth coming up here. So that'll be interesting. I think if they beat Monmouth, because they're in the semifinals now, they'll advance to the MAC championship, and they have to await the winner of Siena and Quinnipiac. So big shout out to our women's soccer team, men's soccer team as they start their playoffs too.
Yeah, so.
Good luck to both teams.
Anything else you'd like to add, Josh?
No, not really. I think you both made pretty good points about those two subjects. So, yeah, voting is pretty important. You're doing your civic duty. And then, yeah, Marist teams in the playoffs is always a good thing as well.
Absolutely.
So we thank you for listening to tuning into today's show. We know we got to cut it short today because we ran a little late, but it's not a big deal. But also because it's just we don't do commercials anymore for music because we can't play long music on Facebook if we're doing Facebook Live. So, but we appreciate you guys for tuning in, who did tune in today. And we hope to see you next time on the Nick, Josh, and Aaron Sports Talk Radio Show. So, hope to see you next week, and have a good rest of the weekend. And it's Friday, so have a good weekend, and we'll see you. Hope to see you guys next week.
Yep, have a good week, everyone, and stay tuned for our upcoming shows.
All right, peace out.